Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Gordon Frayne. We are back with another video. Today we're talking about dynamic TAO or dTAO and the TAO ecosystem. As always, if you enjoy the content, please make sure to smash that thumbs up button below, hit subscribe, hit that bell notification icon, and don't forget to grab a completely free copy of The Rise of Bitcoin linked below this video down in the description. Grab it now and let's talk about dynamic TAO. So, at the time of recording this video, we can see TAO itself is having a nice breakout on the back of Bitcoin running up past $100,000 again. We're seeing TAO back up over $417 at the time of recording this video, and we are literally retesting and trying to break back above the 200-day simple moving average as we speak. Okay, I've done plenty of videos about TAO on the channel. You can go and check those out. I will leave links for them at the top of the screen. But today I really want to focus in on dTAO and dynamic TAO. And I did make a different video about the dTAO upgrade a couple of months ago, but circling back, there's been some developments, there's been some initiatives and a lot of growth with the TAO ecosystem over the past couple of months. And we're going to talk a little bit about what is dTAO and dynamic TAO first and foremost. And so the whole idea with dynamic TAO is essentially that we can use dynamic TAO in combination with all of these subnets in the TAO ecosystem. Okay, if you're not familiar with subnets, subnets are almost like all of these individual businesses on the TAO network that are competing to provide the most valuable information to the overarching ecosystem, and they get rewarded in TAO for doing so. Okay, the emergence and the introduction of dynamic TAO now means that we can actually have all of those subnets having their own alpha tokens. We're going to be talking about alpha tokens in this video as well, but for all intents and purposes, dTAO and the dynamic TAO upgrade means that we have all of these subnets having the ability to have their own alpha tokens, and users can now stake their TAO using dynamic TAO for those subnets, and we're going to show you how to do that at the end of this video as well. So we're going to be talking about how you can stake your TAO and stake it using some of the alpha tokens for the individual subnets. Okay, so like I said, you need to have an understanding of subnets. What are subnets? What is a subnet? Like I said, you've got the overarching ecosystem for Bittensor and the TAO network, and you've got all of these individual subnets with very different use cases that are competing amongst one another. And then even within those subnets, you've got miners competing with one another, which I'll talk about in a moment, but they're competing to provide the most valuable information to the overarching AI network. The easiest way to understand that and visualize it is if you come over to taostats.io, you can see that you've got all of the subnets here listed at taostats.io/subnets, and you can see the market share and the market caps of all these individual subnets. I believe we're up to about 104 subnets on the TAO network at this moment in time, and that's going to keep increasing and growing. All of these individual subnets have their own use cases, okay? Shoots, for example, if I click into it, is one of the largest subnets by market cap on TAO, and you can see how they now denominate the price of these individual alpha tokens for shoots specifically at $105, or that is equal to 0.25 TAO at today's prices. So you're going to see all these charts for the alpha tokens trading and being priced against TAO as almost like the parent token that these alpha tokens are getting priced against on these charts over on TAOstats. Okay, I hope this is all making sense, because the ability and the upgrade for dTAO and dynamic TAO means that all of these subnets can have their own tokens and compete against each other and incentivize the individual miners that are part of each of those individual subnets to earn rewards and provide the most valuable information within that subnet as well. So it's kind of like an inception going from the overarching TAO network into the subnets, and then the miners on the subnets are also competing against one another to provide the most valuable information for each of those individual subnets. Okay, I hope this is making sense. I know it's not easy to grasp the concept of subnets when you're new to Bittensor, but take some time, come on over to TAOstats, check it out for yourself, and you can understand how all of these individual businesses, essentially, as subnets, are contributing to growing and improving the overall TAO network. Okay, again, subnets that do not provide valuable information do not get rewarded with very much TAO, whereas the subnets that provide the most valuable information to the network, as validated by the validators, are the ones that actually receive the most TAO rewards and continue to grow the price of their individual alpha tokens. Okay, if I jump over to this piece of documentation here on Bittensor as well, the concept of these alpha tokens has been essentially birthed with this dTAO upgrade. And again, you can see the alpha token is purchased by staking TAO into the subnet's reserve, which is initialized with a negligible amount of liquidity. Okay, so like I said, you now have the ability to come over here and purchase alpha tokens for specific subnets. So if you think a particular subnet has a very good use case, you can now purchase, almost like you're purchasing a crypto token, purchasing and getting exposure to an individual subnet if you think it has the potential to grow and outperform TAO on a percentage basis. It's almost like placing a leveraged bet against the TAO token, because you can get exposure to the individual subnet alpha token. Okay, if I search up one of the subnets like Bitcast, for example, Bitcast is subnet 93. They are a subnet focusing on marketing and actually promoting the TAO blockchain itself, and they incentivize creators to actually create content and reward them in the form of their alpha token when they create valuable content related to TAO and Bitcast. And I will be doing more videos about this in future. But if I wanted to actually purchase some of the alpha token for Bitcast, I can come over here on TAO stats. I've got my TAO wallet connected already. I've only got a test amount of capital in this particular Bittensor wallet, but you can see that if I use my 0.06 TAO, I'm going to get about 6.5 of the alpha token for Bitcast in return for spending 0.063 TAO. Okay, that is because the price per alpha token for the Bitcast subnet is currently at 0.00975 TAO, or about $4.02. Okay, so this is how you can actually proceed and purchase individual alpha tokens for the individual subnets on Bittensor. Okay, the last component of what I want to explain on this video is essentially how can newcomers stake alpha tokens. If you are a newcomer to the TAO ecosystem, if you want to get involved and you want to learn how to actually stake alpha tokens for these individual subnets, it's actually quite straightforward. I'm going to bring my browser down a little bit here so you can see the TAO wallet that I'm referring to. But essentially, if you're using the Bittensor native wallet, you can do this within the wallet very easily and very natively. Okay, like I mentioned, I'm going to exit out of this area here. I've only got a small amount of test capital in the form of TAO in this wallet, 0.06 TAO. But if I wanted to proceed to staking this TAO for one of the individual alpha tokens, all I have to do is click on this staking button and click on create new stake. Again, a stake has two different parts. When you stake any TAO, you must select a subnet and a validator. Okay, so it brings you through the steps one by one using the Bittensor wallet here. A validator creates emissions that will accrue to your stake, and a subnet has an exchange rate that will change over time depending on the subnet's popularity and performance. And that's exactly what I was referencing over here. The exchange rate for the alpha token related to the subnet is going to fluctuate in dollar terms and in TAO terms over time depending on its popularity and performance. Okay, validator rewards, the validator portion of your stake produces emission rewards that grow your stake. Validators offer different APYs depending on your subnet selection. Again, rewards are automatically added to your stake balance. Subnet price changes. Of course, the subnet you stake has an exchange rate with TAO, and that is also pegged against the US dollar. So when you stake, your TAO is converted into the subnet token at the current exchange rate, and rewards from your selected validator will accrue in this subnet token. So you've got to actually have a fundamental thesis in the subnet that you're staking with, because if it's not going to ultimately perform or outperform many of the other subnets, you may not get rewarded accordingly. Okay, you got to have a fundamental thesis in the use case for that individual subnet if you're planning to stake with it. Okay, once you unstake, your stake principal plus any rewards from validators will be converted back into TAO in your wallet at the current exchange rate. Again, that can fluctuate. It can be higher or lower compared to the rate at which you initially staked it. And the process can result in either gains or losses. Again, they're just covering themselves here to make sure you're aware of the risks involved with this. Okay, so you can see here, once we click through to staking, it gives us some of the top subnets by default that we can stake our TAO with. Again, Shoots is the largest subnet. You've got all these other subnets for Targon, proprietary trading, Celium, etc. If we explore all subnets, let's stick with our Bitcast example. I can type in Bitcast here against subnet 93, and then I need to choose a validator where I want to stake. Okay, I can choose one of the first options, maybe Roundtable or Rizzo. You can see this is insured, and I can proceed to actually stake with this particular validator on subnet 93 for Bitcast. The final thing I need to do is select the amount of TAO that I actually want to stake. Again, if I scroll up this particular bar, it's going to allow me to determine how much of my TAO I want to stake. Again, many of these subnets will have a minimum stake amount. I think for this particular subnet, the minimum stake is 0.1 TAO. So technically I don't have enough in my wallet here. But again, if you want to do this, you would simply select the amount of TAO you're going to stake, click on continue, and it's going to allow you to stake that amount of TAO. It will be converted into the subnet alpha token at the moment that you do that, and you will be able to exchange that back into native TAO at a later point. Okay, so that's it for today's video, guys. I wanted to do a very kind of introductory overview about everything to do with dTAO, dynamic TAO, and how you can get involved in the TAO ecosystem. Look, personally speaking, I am quite bullish on this ecosystem. This video is not financial advice. As always, make sure to do your own research when looking at the fundamentals and looking at the technicals of any asset you're considering investing in. Again, I think the AI narrative is not going away. I think we're only going to see it increase. You've got the biggest companies in the world, Facebook, Google, Amazon, Microsoft. They're all fighting for a slice of the artificial intelligence pie, and TAO and Bittensor are trying to be the open source alternative to the closed source AI models, just like ChatGPT, just like DeepSeek. And it will be very interesting to see how these open source models evolve and hopefully outcompete their centralized counterparties with the biggest companies in the world. We're at an amazing intersection in the growth of this entire ecosystem. I think there's so much potential with TAO. Again, proceed with caution. Drop me some comments below this video, guys. Are you purchasing TAO? Are you interested in staking your TAO on some of these individual subnets with the alpha tokens? I want to hear the comments. I want to hear the questions. I'm going to be making lots more content about Bittensor TAO specifically. And if you want specific topics covered, please drop them as a comment below this video. If you got any value at all out of today's video, please give it a thumbs up before you leave. Again, hit subscribe, hit that bell notification icon, and you've got a completely free copy of The Rise of Bitcoin waiting for you below the video. Grab it now in the description, and we'll catch you in the next one.